Hello, welcome. Well, we're really excited. Mark's here with me. Mark is actually, hang on, I've got a lower sales manager at Sony Europe. Thank you so much for being here, Mark. And
Absolute pleasure. Thank
something
you.
exciting today, haven't we?
Yeah. It's we've had a camera release. It's been a busy day, and we've had some fun today with it. So lots of learning and stuff, and we've been putting a lot of content together. And it's great to see it finally out in the market.
Fantastic. It's all been very quick, hasn't it? It was only launched 4 hours ago. Officially kind of launched and released. So super pleased to have you on. And lots of people on already. Park Cameras, just actually to give a shout out actually. So we are streaming to multiple platforms at the minute. We're going out to my Adrian Salisbury YouTube channel, Facebook page. We're on the Ecamm YouTube channel. So if you're on Ecamm, shout out to you. And if you're joining us from Park Cameras Facebook page as well, shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining us. And this is going to be a good live. We're excited. We want this to be very interactive. We're seeing your questions right in front of us as they're coming in like this. So don't worry, we are going to get to them. We do want this to be very much about answering your questions as much as possible, or Mark is anyway. No pressure, Mark. So, Mark, why don't you kick us off before we get into any questions and specifics or anything? So, new camera's just been released. What can you tell us about it? Do you want me to bring up some images? You tell me what you want up. And so, should we start off over here with this front of this camera?
Yeah, there it is. Right, so ZV-E10, and you've probably, people watching may be familiar with the ZV series. So, last year, I think it was, we brought out the ZV-1, which I think a lot of streamers use. Ecamm, I'm Ecamm part of the community as well. I use Ecamm, so although I don't always use the ZV-1, the ZV-1 is obviously a very popular camera, compact, and now we brought this ZV. So clearly here, ZV, there's another version, and this is the E10. And this is basically an E-mount camera, so that means it's not a fixed lens, it's a body only, or you can have it with a kit lens, so you can now add all different lenses to it. So we have over 60 lenses, native lenses in the E-mount range. So now this opens out even more creativity. So it's great having a fixed lens because it's all in one with the ZV-1. But of course, with
used to lenses,
and of course it's a bigger sensor. So bigger sensor, more variety of lenses. So you can having interchangeable lenses, you can go wide. You can use zoom. I saw a video today. Actually, it looked ridiculous that there was the ZV-E10 with a 70 to 200. But you can. That's great, and the quality is obviously
very hard holding the thing, wouldn't it? It'd be
you're holding the lens rather than the body. But the fact is, you can use all these lenses on the camera, and I think that really opens up a huge opportunity for people to get more creative, basically.
Yeah, I guess it depends. We've got some love for the ZV-1 in the house. There's some people on here saying that they're loving them. Well done. And absolutely, I've got a ZV-1 sitting at the side of me here. Love the thing. It's a cracking little camera. And we'll get into that in a little bit, I think, because that's going to be a question. I'm already getting emails from people saying, I've just bought this. Have I bought the wrong one? Is this going to replace it? Or, we'll get into some of that in a little while, I think, as to quite where this fits in the range.
Yeah.
And I think this will also make a difference as to, who, like you say, for some, the idea of having a built-in lens, you don't have to worry about, if you're not interested in photography or video, a lot of my customers they need this to look good. They're not actually interested in it. And, it's a necessary evil to look good. You know what I'm saying? So actually,
I do. And
not necessarily they want the lenses, but at the same time, there are those who do want to be able to have lenses and interchange, and maybe have got other equipment. Sorry, Mark.
No, that's a really, really good point, because the fixed lenses have their advantages, and obviously, if you start, anybody watching this, we said this off air, didn't we? Anybody watching this thinking that this camera is going to be like an A7S Mark III and a high-end broadcast camera with incredible, look, it's an amazing entry-level starter vlogging kit that takes incredible stills, and I put some footage together.
Yeah, I was going to play that actually. While we keep talking, I'll just run this through.
Yeah, so this is actual footage that I took back in May. We had the camera back in May, literally 2 days. and it literally then was passed on to somebody else. And this footage really is to show you how small it is and how compact it is. It's about 20% smaller than the A6100. And I know there was a question earlier on YouTube that said, what are the differences between 6100 and so on. We'll come on to that in a second.
Yeah.
But you can see it's got a 3-capsule mic. So a lot of these features are coming over from the ZV-1. So I'm kind of repeating for those who have already got the ZV-1, but it is really interesting that we've got these features that you won't then find on the 6000, 6100 and the 6400 and so on. So you've got a flip out screen. Hooray, we've got a flip out screen, which is like everyone's been asking for it.
Yep.
It really does help, obviously, seeing yourself when you're recording yourself. You've got some functionality on the back as well, some really cool function buttons that are customizable. I think I've just glanced and there's something about the cable management here. Yes, you've got USB-C, which is USB streaming once you
someone was
and
just
it also
asking.
it charges up your camera as well. So if you've got a battery block or you've got external battery, I've got Tether Tools D-Tap battery, USB, connect it in, powers up. Fantastic. All through a USB.
Just paused on that a second because I'm just noticing that it's not the same as the ZV-1 on the bottom. That we haven't got that small compartment now that goes through that.
Yes. So now, actually, it's a really good point, Adrian, because when you put it on a tripod, the plate won't obscure the battery and the SD card.
And that looks like a bigger battery as well, yeah?
Much bigger capacity battery. It's the FW50 battery you find in all the A6000 series cameras and some of the full-frame Mark 1 and Mark 2s. Roughly 440 shots, which is actually, if you did a comparison to other competitor models, that's actually very competitive. It gives you about 80 minutes worth of recording on one charge of battery, 440 high-res shots. And I did find out today that it's also unlimited recording. So it's not capped
it is.
to 29 minutes, 59 seconds. So it is unlimited recording as well. So all of a sudden, we've got these, actually, we have got these high-end features in this very small body, which again are very similar to the ZV-1, but you now got additional capacity to obviously, more longevity in the camera itself. But just looking on the top, we've got the dead cat, the wind mic as well, which is obviously thrown in as an additional extra. You've got a big red button to tell you, show you where the recording is. I love the opening credits. Owen, fantastic what you've done there, because you highlight the red square on the back of the screen, the LCD screen, which tells you that you're recording. It's also got a recording tally lamp at the front as well, which will come on, so you know that you're recording. So if you accidentally press it, the red light will come on. No alarm or anything like that, but the red light will come on, and it will warn you that obviously you're recording. But obviously it's an assist to help you as well. The grip on the front, slightly smaller than, say, 6100, 6400.
Shall we run on to the comparison video and we can see them side by side? Before we do, Avis just posted there, actually, what about recording time? That's what Mark's just saying. There is no limit to that now. So there is no kind of 30-minute limit on these. Presumably is until the card runs out, is it? Or is there a limit?
Yes, basically, yes. If you're going to be holding this camera for whatever length of time, I think up to 80 minutes continuous recording with one battery charge, then your arms are going to hurt, aren't they? But if you got it on a tripod, then
doing the kind of thing we're doing now. Yeah.
So whatever recording format you're using, obviously 4K is going to be obviously taking a lot more memory and how your battery's charged up and so on. So there's a lot of external factors that take into consideration, but it is unlimited. There's no cap on recording. So what we're doing here,
actually, I've just got this paused at the second. It's this is great. So this is a comparison then.
Yes, ZV-1 on my left, ZV-E10 on the right. And so you can see, I wanted to put this out in the content I created because it just shows you that a lot of people could have this ZV-1. They may wanted to upgrade, or may be looking at the ZV-1, and now this is another option. You're looking at, I think, weight-wise, the ZV-1 is around 294 grams, and the ZV-E10 is 346. There's not much in it. And then if you compare it to the 6400 or the 6100, it's about 20% smaller in volume. So, you're gaining a little bit there in, less weight in your hands. But I have to say, it's a lovely, fun camera. And, we'll come on to some more footage later, but it's a really, it felt fine in the hand. Now, I'm lucky. I've got small hands, so it felt okay in my hands. If you've got bigger, sausage fingers, bigger fingers, then it might feel a little bit, a bit tight. But again, You can use the flip out screen again to your advantage if you're holding it in your hand. And of course, the great thing, I come back to the lenses. If you use a 10 to 18 APS-C lens on this, then you're going extremely wide. The equivalent of the 16 to 50 kit lens that you get is like a 24 millimeter or 25 mil, which isn't as wide. So,
and I know that was, I've just paused this a second because I know we're onto another camera now. But I know that was one of the issues that few people had said on YouTube and that, hadn't they? That it wasn't quite wide enough to be a vlogging camera, the ZV-1. So they were putting, certainly if you went up to 4K and it cropped and you're kind of holding this thing out. So this obviously gets over that one by being able to put your own lenses on and take one of those wider angle lenses.
I've worked for Sony for a number of years now, and one of my favorite APS-C lenses has always been the 10 to 18. When we've been doing, the part of my role in Sony is also doing trade shows and face-to-face consumer engagement activities. And of course, because of the pandemic, that's obviously stopped, and we're just starting to slowly go back to that. So I normally use that lens to capture, as what, the trade show stands, lots of crowds, that kind of stuff. So now for this, you really, you've got this option now to go really wide. The APS-C, just to remind people that if you're getting the full frame equivalent, it's you times the crop factor by 1.5 times. So a 10 millimeter APS-C lens is a 15 mil equivalent in full frame. So just if you're trying to work that out, so it's not actually a 15 millimeter wide. It's a 15 millimeter kind of wide,
not the 10
lens. Not a 10 if you're looking at it from a 35 mil perspective.
I'm keen to get to some of these questions in a minute. I'd just like to have a look. So we've put this side by side then with the ZV-1. Now you're putting it side by side with the 60. Let me rewind that back just a fraction there. This is now the 6400. So interesting to see how size-wise it fits.
Yeah, I mean, again, pause that there. But, a lot of people, again, have used the 6400 for streaming and video content creation. Again, it's got a lot of the features. But what you're finding with this now, you are gaining... I'm using the A7R Mark IV with all my webinars, all my streaming, because the eye autofocus sticks. It sticks to my eye. And I don't have to worry about, is it in focus? Do I have to check in every time? It's, this square here that we're in, it stays on there. Now, I'm not sure if the algorithms from the higher end models have gone into the ZV-E10, but the way it focuses, the way it tracks, and the way it sticks is really impressive. To the fact that
you're going to show us that in a minute. You've got a video of that, haven't you?
So the newer autofocus system with eye autofocus in video, for example, you're getting on the ZV-E10, which you wouldn't find on the 6400. So you are gaining. I think if anybody's thinking, what do I do? 6400, 6100. If you want the latest autofocus technology that you find in most of our cameras, the recently releases, then the ZV-E10 will have that as well. So that's something to take consideration, both stills and video.
Fantastic. We'll come on to that. I just want to come through this one because I think this is really interesting. And actually, I mean, this is the 6400, but all of that 6000 series are pretty much the same size, aren't they? If someone's on a 61 or a 6000.
They are.
So I'll run through this. You talk us through this one then.
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, you've got the normal tiltable screen that you would find, so good for high and low shots. But of course, on the ZV-E10, you've got the flip-out screen. This is a 6600. Now, again, it's going to be a lot bigger in volume and of weight because it's got a Z battery. But just really to show you that actually it's not that. It's not that far off. And this is the 10 to 18, a bit of a battered one.
I can see you've used that well.
It's been used. Again, in my hand, it's the E-mount system. Like I said, you find the white circle on the white point on the lens, and then you just twist and click if you haven't seen that before. And then the more latest f2.8 lenses that we brought out also fit, so it's really key. Again, the kind of like-for-like equivalent here. Actually, the lenses are slightly different focal length, but it just shows you again it keeps that compactness down, and of course it pairs. Somebody just said, very good. It's the grip as well. So the grip works in the same way. Bluetooth. You press the photo button, the T button for 7 seconds, it pairs, and away you go. And again, it's pretty flawless when it comes to that. And then you've got this, really good vlogging kit that doesn't weigh anything in the hand at all. Flip out the screen and I can start talking. I've got the grip here. I can have the camera in front of me and I can start talking to using that effectively. And just remember the 16 to 50, which just reminded me there, is a power zoom as well. So you can control that camera with the rocker switch on the Bluetooth grip as well. So the message is there. I think it's getting a little bit more user-friendly.
Yes.
A little bit more user-friendly and less time behind the camera, more time trying to get it right, in the front and in camera as well. So
it's exciting. It really is a cross between these two, isn't it? It's kind of the best of both of them, I guess. Seems lovely.
I totally agree. And we'll say it again. The fact is that you can become even more creative now with these lenses, and the APS-C lenses are a good price point as well. So whether it's a 30mm portrait lens, a 30mm macro lens, all of a sudden you're like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah. I've been looking to try and do that maybe with the ZV-1. I can't get close enough maybe, or it doesn't have a longer zoom and lens, or we know a lot of people use their mobile phones and so on, and there's a huge percentage of the people who do that, but it's limited on its capabilities because of the technology. You can't put a 70 to 200mm lens. Well, you might be able to, don't quote me on that, but the fact is you're using optic glass to do that. And of course, that's just going to improve the quality. So the fact is you've got all that to choose from.
It's amazing. And, but there is still a place for that. Well, I'm assuming you're going to agree. Still a place for this little ZV-1. I think it's. I've been blown away that you could.
Absolutely.
This fits in your pocket, and you can take it out, flip it out, and you can do a bit of recording.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact is now this kind of joins up the E-mount system with the compact range in this style of camera. Yeah. So this vlogging style. So you've got that option now instead of it's only just the ZV-1 with all these features. Hang on a minute. You might be an E-mount user or an alpha user, or you're thinking of, I want to get an alpha camera, but I'll stick, now there's this option to have all these functionality and, capability in this kind of, but you're right. The ZV-1's not going anywhere. It's here. It's a great camera and will continue to be as well.
And I think interestingly on the prices, so I'm looking, we're in the UK, we're looking at UK prices. I know there's a lot of guys in the States and elsewhere. So ZV-1 here, $699, and that includes the lens,
cameras,
doesn't it?
We said earlier, Park Cameras, we're working with Park Cameras as our retail support here. So $679, body only. And if you go for the kit lens, 16 to 50, I think it's $779. I think I'll have to double check that.
Yeah.
And if you buy body and you want to buy the 10 to 18mm lens, there's like 150. Yes, it's $769 with the 16 to 50. If you want to combine the 10 to 18, the wider angle lens, then with Park Cameras, their pre-order offer is save £150 on that as as well. And I think there we go.
You've got this here, isn't it?
You've got that as well. Yeah.
Thank you to Park Cameras for this. So they're the offers Mark's just talking about. This is the ZV-10 then sits in here. So price-wise, they're all very close together, aren't they? Because the ZV-1, our small one here, is $699. So actually, body only, the ZV-10 is actually cheaper. You need to get a lens, but it needs a lens.
But you need the lens. It's quite competitive, I think.
Yeah, it's just not, we're not talking about some ridiculous price jump in this to go from one to the other. And body only. So we've just said the ZV-10 $679. Am I right on Park Cameras? $749 for the 6100. So if we were looking up to that next range up at the 6000s, so again, there's £70 difference in that. They all sit very close, don't they? We're not suddenly bringing a new camera in that's double the price or anything.
No, and you're making it very difficult for me now because it's like, I recommend and say you must buy this. I'd never do that, but it's difficult because the price point. And then I think there's a bigger leap to the 6400, and then you think, well, hang on a minute, I get all this new technology and so on. So it's like, sorry if you're now even more confused.
But that is really interesting. And actually, I'm talking about the 6100. That somebody mentioned earlier about the record time. That does have a 30-minute limit, doesn't it, on the record time?
Yes, it would do, and 6400 would have more of the unlimited. And I think
Yeah.
if you look at the most recent releases over the last year, then most cameras
They're starting to shift to this now.
Yeah.
So actually, again,
Where
I'm just thinking that it's not necessarily stepping up to the 6100. This actually has got a lot more in it than the 6100 has.
Yeah, and from a stills perspective, it's almost very similar in quality, look, feel, and so on. The files that come out of the camera.
But you're not getting
when I say
viewfinder, presumably would
yeah,
be
you're not
for a stills.
But having tested it, and obviously then looking at the files, then putting videos together for our retailers and so on, and I only had it for 2 days.
Yeah.
The video quality is actually closer to maybe like an A7 III. The lowest quality kind of thing. So it's pushing itself, maybe a 6400 if you're looking at that.
So do we want to have a look?
This my son.
You were just, bless him, he's a star. But look at this, guys. That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, so keep playing that. So this is just a very quick demo of my son just playing about with the camera. And we took some stills. So that's 300%. Zoomed in, both in the camera and through external editing software. And I've done that straight out of the camera. There's no editing in that whatsoever. And of course, if you just play that footage again, you'll see that he's moving around. It's tracking his eye. There we go. The green box finds the eye. It finds his face because its fingers came up. It knew, hang on a minute, I'm not sure if that's a face. It is a face. There's the eye. And this happens really, really quickly. And this is the stuff I find on the higher end cameras. So again, I'm not just saying that. I'm saying it because I was really impressed with it. It just was that good. And you can even just see the skylight in my house. And this is my daughter. We had great fun. It was like take 96. That was. But the fact was, this is in video. It's tracking her eye in movement and her face and her eye, and that's in video. Now this is in stills. This is tracking. So it's tracking her body. It's in that square. You can go wider across the sensor. And this is my son playing a bit of rugby out in the garden. And this is 11 frames per second. So shot in high. And the green boxes focus on him, focus on the movement. Bang, bang, bang. Zoom in again. You get a bit of movement on the rugby ball. But the sharpness of everything around him. Okay, it was a nice sunny day and so on. But it just shows you that the tracking in stills, the tracking in video, and the eye autofocus in stills and video is excellent. And of course, for doing this type of online activity, you just don't want to be worrying about, is my face in focus? Am I in focus? If you set it up correctly, very much like the ZV-1, then you shouldn't have any issues with focusing at all. And it's phase detection autofocus as well, not contrast AF, which can is very good, but can some. I worked for Panasonic for many years ago. I've always used contrast AF, but joining Sony 4 years ago, I've not really used anything as good as the phase detection. Because it just sticks. It sticks everywhere. Contrast AF is good. We have it on our cameras as well, but it's picking out individual movement. It's covering a wide area of the sensor. I think 84% of the sensor's covered on this camera.
Wow.
So, it's not right to the corners, but it just gives you something a bit more accurate and reliable than, say, just relying on contrast autofocus. But again,
it's not just the kids, is it?
No, there's my dog. She's twice the size since May. I tell you, she's grown so quickly. Yeah, eye autofocus. So again, you'd think, okay, eye autofocus has been added to our system, relatively new in the last few years. Is it as accurate? Is it as fast? Well, yes, it does. But again, you've got to change it from human to animal. Once you've changed it to animal, it will detect, and of course, it will track her and focus on the eye. And this one again was zooming in. I can't remember if that was 200%, but straight in, straight to the eye. So animal eye autofocus as well. So all of a sudden we've got this pretty powerful camera, to be honest.
That's very exciting. I haven't actually asked, and I don't actually know when this is available. It's pre-order at the minute, isn't it?
It's pre-order at the moment, and it's August. I think mid-August that Park Cameras have got on their website.
Okay.
So which is a couple of weeks, so it's not long.
I think there's a few of us going to be interested in these. Yeah,
it's not long.
Fantastic. Yeah, Rachel's in the house going, "Oh no, here he goes. This is another camera he's going to be buying."
Gadget.
Shall we have a look back through some of these?
Let's please.
We got loads of comments on here. Now, I'll tell you what, probably for ease here, guys. Forgive me if you've posted and it's way back up there. I've done this before, and if we get it back up there, then there's comments below. Feel free, please. Don't be offended if we've ignored you. It would be really useful if you could post this again below, and ideally put a Q so we know that it's a question rather than just a comment or feedback. So let me start right at the bottom here then. Does the Focus video work with Camlink 4K? Yes, it does. Yeah, the focus wouldn't matter, but yeah, you can absolutely use this across a camera.
I didn't test that, but you know, every camera that I've used to do that, yes, then I totally agree with that.
We can, thank you, Ecamm. We can search with the wonderful power of Ecamm. We can do a search up here for anybody that put a Q in. It's whether people are well behaved enough to put Qs in. We can have, yeah, we'll have a quick look at this, and then I'll come back to the end anyway. Does the cable that connects to the camera to your computer for streaming also charge it? Yes.
Yes. Yes. And it's USB-C, so obviously that's going to improve charging capabilities over, let's say, a micro USB. So, yep.
Stephanie's just bought a 6100. What do you want us to say, Stephanie?
Well, look, I mean, look, it's a good question. Let's not ignore it. I mean, 6100, you're going to be happy with it. It's a great stills camera, and it's also a great video camera. Yeah, and like anything else, if you keep holding out and holding out and holding out, you're missing out on, So, don't be put off. The 6100 is an excellent camera and a really good entry starting piece of kit as well. So you won't be disappointed with that.
It's the main camera we recommend at the minute. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's quite scary actually seeing how this has evolved and new things have come in now. And as Mark says, it's like waiting for the iPhone and suddenly going, I want the next one. And they're always going to, every new model is going to have updates. But yeah, in terms of, as you saw in those images there, I realize this is an old comment. Size and everything, very much the same. Just got a few new extras in there. What's the video camera with USB? I think you did one, didn't you, Mark?
Yeah. So the video quality is 720. So this is, I think, the beginning of this is the Mac camera. That's the feed on the back of the recording of the ZV-E10, and then the next piece of footage is actually from the ZV-E10. And to be honest, it's 720, so it's not full HD, it's not 4K. It's a lot better than if you use the app, because the app is standard definition. And this is just a cutaway of, again, you can control the camera with your phone. This is the app. You see what you are seeing at the back of the screen. It's picking my eye up, but it knows my son is a face.
Yes.
So again, it's trying its best not to hunt to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
You see the red square, the red corners. It knows that if my son came into that square, it would probably, if he's closer to the camera, would focus on him. But it knows, I know there's something outside there. You tell me if I need to focus on it or not, and I can move that square.
So you've preset that area.
I've preset, like I've done here,
focus
is
area.
To say, nothing's going to happen here, but I know that if one of my soundboards fell off or something like that, it would hopefully still stay on my face. That hasn't happened since.
Let's not dwell on that one. Yeah.
No, but this is just to show you get the same kind of readout on the app as well. So if you don't use the app, it's Image Edge app. It's free to download for Android and Apple as well. And it's a great. It's almost like having an assistant, but without having somebody there. So you can use it to your own advantage as a remote to make sure you are set up accordingly. Or of course you could use the flip out screen as well.
But it doesn't you can't open Image Edge if it's also being used in Ecamm or somewhere, as I've found.
Yeah, I was
trying to do a demo with it the other day on a Zoom call with somebody, and I was thinking, well, if you open that up, I can take control of it across Zoom, and it wouldn't let me open the app up while it was using Zoom. But yeah.
So it's if you use the app as well, you don't have sound. So you'd have to use your Mac or PC, whatever microphone or an external microphone. If you use the USB streaming, you get the sound from the camera.
Yeah, so which is phenomenal. Actually, Ecamm are on. I know this is only the other day I was on the Ecamm page looking at which cameras are compatible across USB, and I know there's a comment on there saying that none of the cameras will send audio across USB. Well, the ZV-one's the first one that I found that does it, and then this one is also doing it. So
yes,
that's exciting. You think we can have
Yeah,
one
it's good,
cable
it's good.
coming out that's powering it, sending it across, bringing the audio in.
Adrian, it's you know, for those that haven't used the ZV-1, I know you have, but if you haven't, it's easy. You basically plug it in, it gives you a menu prompt, you follow the menu, and it's live. And then when you select your software, whatever you're using online, it'll come up as USB streaming, and you select it, and that's it. You're in. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So Kat's, we've answered that one, Kat. Then yes, absolutely, you don't need a capture card. You can use USB. But you can upgrade the size and quality of it by coming across that capture card. What lens should I be using?
Well, I mean, the great thing is obviously I think I saw another third-party brand being mentioned. Look, you know, we obviously got 60 plus lenses. There are obviously other manufacturers make lenses as well. So this whole ecosystem, if you want to call it, for Sony is massive. So you have a huge amount of lenses to choose from.
And it depends on the look you want as well. I mean, I'm here on a 30mm. Yours is wider than that.
Yeah, 25. But again, it's, you know, I did some live streaming in a retailer store last week and used a 20mm. You just watched out the background. You could still see what was going on in the shop, but it was lovely. And even on here, I haven't even got it at f2.8. I've, you know, narrowed it down a bit, so I'm trying to get as sharp a picture as I can, which I think we're all trying to do, aren't we? We're trying to get it in focus, we're trying to get it sharp, we're trying to get it blurred, we're trying to, we all want to look good. So I think, sorry, answering your question is you can't just say one lens. There's a huge amount, I think.
Could we use standard lenses? Yes. E-mount Sony lenses.
Is it
the same vlogging handle? Looks to be the same handle.
It is. Yes, grip. It is. It is the grip. Same grip. So you can use that.
Is it available everywhere? It's gone live everywhere, hasn't it? It's B&H.
Global today. So the videos you would have seen today at different time zones across the world. Then yes, it was a global launch. So I can't obviously speak on behalf of other countries, but in the UK and Ireland, it was launched today. So
don't know about deals in Canada. I think just look out for them. There will be deals and things, I'm sure. Yeah. Better than the M50. That's hard to say. I think Mark's working for Sony, and for asking him.
Look, at the end of the day, I think there's enough information out there to do side-by-side comparisons and so on, and you make up that decision. But I think again, the important things about when you're looking at a camera is autofocus. Okay, in 4K there is a crop on 30p. There's no crop in 24p. We're oversampling 6K, so you're getting a 6K readout on a small sensor that gives you corner-to-corner 4K sharpness, incredible detail. So if you can go out and find something that is similar price point, similar functionality, I'm not telling you how to do shopping, but if there's something that falls short, then you make that decision on that. But there's loads of information out there, and on your channels as well, Adrian. You're always talking about different elements of hardware and so on. So
Luann's just put in there easy of use for camera dummies. Luann's in our Ecamm Academy. I would say
that's
yes.
A good question. Because my kids had great fun with it. And I think we might have some footage actually of my son presenting to the camera.
I'm using the new Sony camera, and it's really great. Shall we show you?
Unscripted. I don't know how he did it. Just brilliant. He didn't get it from me. He doesn't learn it from me. But the fact is, he's holding it. Okay, he's a 5-year-old boy, 6 in January next year. He's holding it. He's comfortable with it. I tried, the main demo there is not just the sound, it's the eye autofocus as well. And, it locks on. He's happy with it. He's
just locked in.
He's picked up some, I've caught him sometimes even when he was 3, picking up like an 85mm G Master on an A9, going, Archie, what are you doing? And he's like, I think, again, it just breaks those barriers down. It's not obtrusive. It's not in your face. It's a lovely looking camera. And, all the family can have great fun with it. So you can learn with it, and I think that's really, really key to get across.
Brilliant. Let's jump back to here. We've got a few sort of specifics about different cameras and lenses and things, but does the eye tracking work with 4K while using it? Yeah, absolutely. That's well, I'm speaking for you, Mark, but yeah, it's not going to be any different, is it? For I'm going to whiz. Let's come back down because that was the end of our cues. Although it didn't pick up these ones, did it? I'll tell you why. It's because I put a Q and then put a space after it. So these people that put a full stop after it, use a 30mm. Yeah, okay. What is the new camera? Rich, you need to go back to the start and watch this. Where have you been? Rich, I know, Rich, don't worry. What's the price difference between this and the ZV-1, says James. Again, James, we just had a quick look. So this is $679 body only, and then obviously putting lenses on at typically, what was that, about £200? Starting from about £200.
Yeah, I mean, again, because you can use the full frame lenses and the APS-C. There's some full frame lenses that start off at 250, 300. So, you do get that crop factor. But the fact is, like I said, we're working with Park Cameras. If you're in the UK, visit their website. There's a huge amount of information there, and there's a pre-order offer as well. So
So James, James is a filmmaker. Again, another one of our friends and customers. So yeah, James, the convenience of the ZV-1, but it's fixed, and you're not changing lenses around on it, or you've got the option here to change around. James, you've already got some Sony cameras anyway, haven't you? So it might be a good idea for you to be out. Then you've got lenses you can cut between. I think, again, this is what I was hinting at earlier, that if you've already got Sony cameras, then actually this is fantastic that you get that portability, but you can still use those lenses on here. Some of us actually like to be able to cut and change between lenses rather than be restricted to a fixed one.
Yeah, and again, once you finish streaming and maybe you've taken some time out and you just take it off the tripod and go and use it, for holiday snaps, whatever. That's what I loved about it was, unfortunately, I had to give it back after 2 days because it went on to somebody else to do content creation. But when hopefully we'll get samples in the future and we'll hopefully take them around stores so customers can see them, then I'm looking forward to seeing it because again, our system is quite lightweight. I know that people will say, yeah, some of your lenses are heavy and so on and what have you, but this really was a breath of fresh air in a way that I don't have to take all the kit that I would normally take out, and maybe this will fit a purpose for me going forward, for holidays and so on. So but the fact is, flip out screen, all those things we've talked about, you've got a really good vlogging content creating piece of hardware there in a small body.
I'm feeling bad for Rich, bless him. I don't want him thinking I was.
Should we do it all again?
So from the top. No, Rich, this is a brand new camera. Mark's on from Sony. This is a brand new camera that's just been released about 4.5 hours ago now. And here it is. It really sits right there in between the ZV-1 and the 6100 or the 6000 series. Here it is here. Actually showing one of the main differences is the fact that this is an interchangeable lens camera rather than it being a fixed one as is on the ZV-1. So there it is with a lens on. There's a shot from the top. I do like, Owen mentioned this as well, I like the kind of physical switch there to turn it on and off.
You just reminded me now that you're bringing these up, the digital audio interface, so the hot shoe, is set up for Sony microphones. For example, this one here.
Hang on.
I can't remember what the model number now is. W2BT. So if I this is the ZV-1.
Okay, yeah.
You can see here. And you don't need any wires, basically. So if I just show you that.
This is
and that's the transmitter.
Okay, so this would be a setup similar to a lot of us use the Rode Go setup like that. That's the same idea. Then you've got a fantastic.
I can never get my dead cat looking like the pictures you had on there. That's like that looks like a puppet, doesn't it? Just put a pair of eyes on there.
And
but
Mark, is there presumably on that transmitter there? There's an option to plug a microphone cable into as well, if you want.
There is, and then don't forget you've got two. You've got a headphone jack, microphone jack, 3.5mm again, and there's actually a flap on the I thought I had it then. There's a flap on the microphone so you can open and close and so on. It doesn't obscure the screen that much. So you've got you've got best of both worlds. So you can do external cables, there it is on the top, or you can use the digital audio interface. And with these as well, you've got lavalier mics as well that you can hook up directly into the microphone and so on. So yeah, nice little I think it's got I can't remember, it's 200 meters, 600 foot worth of capability distance, so you can go quite far away. So yeah, and again, more information you can find on that on the Park Cameras website if you're looking there.
And I think this USB as well, this
micro HDMI
really surprised me that you've got a headphone jack in there as well. Normally the bigger cameras that are using these, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think really, when you start putting a flip out screen, the hinge and the bracket and so on, it does extend it. So it must have been that we had the capability of putting that in. So yeah, it's good to see that, because this camera is made for content creation, so sound monitoring and microphones. Not everybody will obviously have this or go out and buy that. They might already have an existing system that they can plug in and play straight away. So that's only a good thing.
The only thing that bothers me with this, Mark, I'm looking at it now, is these cables are all going to be in right in front of the screen, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Which was the same as what I used to have on the Panasonic G7, and that was one of my kind of complaints with that, was that the screen's there and I've got all these HDMI cables and USB cables right in front of the screen.
Yes, I can't really comment any further on that.
No, I know. I'm just clocking it and going, oh no, I can see that. I actually like the flip up screen on the 6400 in front of me that's not got cables. And I know there's as many people the other way that are going, yeah, but it's frustrating because I can't put a mic on the top, and you're never going to please everybody. But I'm going to be the first one to make that comment.
Okay, thank you. Noted.
So a couple of things there. Sorry, let's just jump back to the comments. So has it got a remote control on and off shutter release? So that's done on the phone app that Mark was demonstrating then. I assume that's what
you can, dependent on, I keep looking at the ZV-1 thinking it's there. I'll need to look at that, but it doesn't come with a remote control or anything like that. Let me look into that. But you can use the app to use it as a I think around 20 meters is the distance, I think. But you can use your phone or your tablet to use that as a controller. But yeah, you're thinking of a shutter release. I'm assuming
that's what Harry's asking. Will it work with the Rode Wireless Go? Yeah, it would work with. You've got a mic input, so any other external microphone would fit in there. It's just that what Mark's showing there then is an option that doesn't need cables. It's just taking it straight off.
Yes, it's Sony hardware. Yeah.
So the ZV-E10 is not usable without any lens. Sorry, that's Park coming back on there. Yes, absolutely. You can't use it on its own. Recommend using a kit lens for entry level. Yeah, absolutely. If that's kit lens is perfectly fine for.
Yeah, and that 16 to 50, Adrian, is great because it's a power zoom, so you're not having to manually change the lens. You can use it with the rocker switch on the side. You can use the grip with the rocker switch, and what's really cool with the app, you have W and a T, so wide and telephoto on your phone, touchscreen phone, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. So you can actually use your phone as well. If you were presenting and you wanted to zoom in, you could use it to the side. So you've got that option as well as a remote.
We were using it the other day, actually. We were doing one of our equipment setups for our Pro Video Academy. And one of them was, if you're flat up against a wall and we'd attach things to the desk. And that was the lens we used, because this 30mm was, as a prime lens, was too close if it's attached to the desk. I'm not a fan of the kind of 16mm. I think that's a bit too wide personally. I'm being vain and I find it kind of warps my head. but we put the kit lens on and really happy with it. Very impressed with it. And like you say, it's really nice to just be able to adjust that and tweak it to where you want it.
And just talking about that, actually, just reminded me, it's got AF sensitivity settings. So very similar to what you find on the A7S Mark III. So you can actually adjust the sensitivity. And on the zoom, you've got 8 different levels of control. So if you want to have something quite dramatic and slow or very responsive, you can change that as well.
Excellent. That's really useful.
Yeah.
Certainly if you are, because I have found that, and to be honest, on the ZV-1, even just the W and T, it's quite aggressive. Actually, it seemed different when we were recording than when it's not, when it's in standby. Maybe that's a setting that we could have done, but what about Parrot teleprompter? Will it work? Yes, Joss. So that was one of the things that you're familiar with the Parrot teleprompter, Mark, are you?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Onto the lens. So that was one of the disappointments at some. Well, to be honest, there are kits and things that will do it, so you can use the ZV-1. But I certainly wasn't recommending to anyone that they attach that to the lens and have it hanging off the front of it. But yeah, you absolutely could. Nishao, how are you doing? When will it become available to actually buy in the UK? Did you say Park cameras you can pre-order on Park cameras?
Pre-order on Park Cameras website, and it said mid-August, so a few weeks' time.
Yeah, exciting. Let's we're all going to be coming over there now, so Park Cameras, get ready. Rich, that's a big question, kind of comparison with this and the Panasonic. I will make some videos on things like this. I think that's a lot to try and do on this sort of launch video. But yeah, I can do that happily and bring it. And when I get mine, do you think Park Cameras will put me to the front of the queue if I get on and order it now? Andy, are you listening?
Yeah, he's listening.
Special delivery. Is there audio in without the hot shoe adapter? So there's audio already built in. It's actually very good audio then. So it's got a built-in mic.
Yeah, it's 3 capsule mic. Standard mics you find on our A6000 is normally a 2 capsule, so it's fine for general audio. This one with the wind, the dead cat or the wind cover, you can reduce it dramatically. There's some really good footage actually that we released today that shows you without the windbreak and then with the wind cover, and then you can see the difference. And I was quite impressed for that startup. Somebody who maybe doesn't have an existing mic, maybe isn't looking straight away, it is actually quite good for what you're getting out of the camera. So, and the 3 capsule just gives it a little bit of multi-direction, and it will reduce that noise, that wind noise, if you put the dead cat on the top as well. So it's good for what you're getting.
Probably as much as anything, if where I've been recommending this really being a second camera for folk, if people are set up with this and they've got a home studio set up and don't actually want to take this camera out with them, this becomes a second camera if you were traveling and you're off to an event or with work. And it might well be that microphone to just go, I didn't bring a mic, I'm out, but I've got a quiet moment in this coffee shop, I'd like to just record something. I think that's probably where it would come in more, that it would be more than adequate to use it as on the fly really, rather than maybe in a studio setup when you would want to just add a microphone to it. Park cameras are ready to go.
I don't know if you've got enough time, but there's also the picture profile video as well. So again, with this camera, you've got the S-Log, so you can grade, so you can shoot flat saturated, and you've got hybrid log gamma as well, so HDR straight out of the camera. You can tweak all these settings. You can see here I choose S-Log. It's completely flat. And then afterwards, you can use the histogram as well to assist. The red bar is telling me it's recording. And then I did a side-by-side comparison very quickly in Premiere, and I just added a bit of pop and color. So you can then start to bring back in. So again, it's taken some of the more advanced features that you get with some of our cameras again into this. So you're not really losing out. Because again, if you're buying.
This again is one of the things that the 6100 doesn't have. Am I right? So again, is this something with it being a newer camera that is included? To my mind, that was one of the differences of the 61 and the 64.
Yes, because one of the purposes of this camera is it's a content creating,
Yeah.
vlogging, video creating unit. So you're having elements of what you would find on an A7S III, which
Yeah.
no brainer would have happen straight away. There's only one camera like the A6100 and the A9 when it first came out, because the A9 is a dedicated stills sports, amazing focus camera. It didn't have any picture profiles in it. So because it was just dedicated to stills, but you find that most recent releases, including the ZV-E10 now has the picture profile. So again, it's only a good thing. So you can, as you grow with it and you want to be more creative, you can add, more punch and color and so on, and be more creative with your final footage.
And as a slight aside, knowing we've got an eCam audience on, this is actually, so I get asked a few times in the camera effects, it talks about LUTs in there and loading LUTs on and things like that. Yes. This is the way you would use that, is to shoot with this flat profile like this, and then you could create a LUT that brings the contrast, saturation and things back in. My level of knowledge isn't massive on that, and when I was trying to recreate this, and it was really, really easy to do it. Again, it depends on what software, but once you start, it's like photo editing software. If you underexpose heavily on a high-res camera and then put it through and pull out the shadows and and so on, you can get some really quite creative looks. So and it's great to see it in this camera as well. It's you don't have to use it, but it's there and you can grow into it if you want to. The last clip I've got is this slow-mo one.
Oh yeah, we had great fun with this. So this is 120 frames per second, and you're looking in this one slow-mo. So the higher the frame rate, the slower the action. 5 times slow motion. This is the actual footage.
Yeah.
Archie's running towards me. There we go, recording, and then we just played it back, and there we go.
Fantastic. It's easy
simple as that. Just nice and creative, very quick and easy. And that's using the selector tool on the top, which now is, I'll come on to that in a second. And this is the opposite. We've gone to 1 frame per second. And as you can see, this is the actual footage. Obviously, the longer I record, the more fast it's going to be. There he goes, very quick. And again, just a bit of fun. But on the top of the camera is a new button. It's very similar to like the FX3 cinematic camera that we've got.
Hang on, let me come around.
On the top.
Let's take that one off. Top. There we go. Yep.
There we go. So you've got so that's the on and off switch. But you see stills, video, S and Q. S and Q is slow and quick, slow motion, quick motion. It's almost like a time lapse, but via video. It also has an intervalometer, which is time lapse. You can set your time intervals, you can set your images and so on. So it's also got that. But the button here, and I was reading some things today and looking at other reviews and stuff, it is what it is. It's an easy access tool to get access to stills, video, and slow-mo rather than going through the menus. Yeah. So it's more of an assist. And also not forgetting the bokeh switch, which literally is opening and closing the aperture without having to worry about, so you can get a blurred background or no blurred background. Yeah. And then you've got the product showcase, which again is like we did just earlier, is when you bring something up to the screen, it focuses on it.
Yes.
There we go. Really quickly.
Yeah. And
it's this kind of quality that you get on the ZV-1 and also on the ZV-E10. And again, it's all that taking that worry of, is it in focus? Is this going to work? I think once any ZV-1 users that use it a lot like that, just grow with confidence with the camera, and you can go on and think about other things. Yeah. But autofocus is something that you're going to really enjoy with this camera, and we really did. The hit rate, the reliability, we had some great fun with it.
Excellent. Hey, Ian's just joined us. How are you doing, Ian? Good to have you on. Late to the party. Looks amazing. Oh, it does, Ian. And Ian's... unless you did buy one, last I remember, Ian was looking to upgrade his camera. So, Ian, this could be just the one for you.
Good time.
And he's in the UK. So, Ian, head to Park Cameras, and I've got some great deals on for this one. But do jump back to the start. We ought to be wrapping it up in a few minutes. So, anything? Just what have we missed in there? Just quickly. Probably. I've just seen this one, a recommendation. I would probably just start or talk to Park Cameras. or if you're in the US, I'm not quite sure whereabouts you are. It'll come with a kit lens typically, won't it? The package will be the camera plus a lens.
I've got the lens here actually, Adrian.
Yep.
So this is the what's this? It's the 6400. There we go. So the power zoom, f3.5, 5.6, and if I just turn that around, you'll see you've got the rocker switch there.
Yeah.
On the side, and then hopefully there's a battery in here. Yeah, there is. So you can see there it's extended out, and then when you switch it off, it goes back in again. Lovely. Simple as that. So great little kit lens. Good for video. It
doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't mean you're suddenly going, oh, now I've got to work out what lens I put on the front of it. Not at all. But for those that have already got lenses, you can just buy body only and then use the lenses you've already got if they are Sony E-mount lenses. Wayne just asked, where is the audio connector? Wayne, that was... Hang on, I'm testing myself now. I've got to turn that one off before I open the other one. There it is, right at the top with the red ring around it.
Micro HDMI. Again, you can plug that into a video card, straight into your adapter, and that'll find that on Ecamm as well. I do that with Camlink A7R4, finds it straight away. And I've got some other third-party ones I use as well, so no problem at all with that.
Ian.
And again, you just need to make sure in the settings, obviously, that I think looking at a lot of the community forums with Ecamm and so on, a lot of people using cameras like this for the first time are always saying, "How do I get rid of all the information and stuff like that?" It's very easy to get a clean output.
It's exactly.
You just go into the
Ian's
display
question
area
here,
and you turn it off. It does absolutely. Not 60 frames per second, no. In 1080p, I need to double check that.
You don't need 60 frames per second anyway, Ian. I would wind that down, and you can actually get 4K out of it.
Must have a powerful Mac as well.
Ian, we're streaming now in 4K. This camera will do it, and I think I would rather turn down the frame rate and be in 4K than this. If you're not doing any real movement and things, we're getting on to another. but
that's a good point, though.
This will cover all you want, Ian. Looking at getting to Sony, so this looks perfect. Honestly, Ian, so, I mean, Mark just said to me before we came on here, Mark works for Sony, and he's obviously, got the whole range in front of him. But you were just saying, weren't you, that this genuinely is going to be your camera of preference, really, in this sort of range?
Yeah, I get a lot of requests. Like the camera I'm using, the A7R Mark IV, it's very high end. Obviously, I'm very lucky. I have the kit to test and so on and use it. But I'm looking. We went out and did a mobile in-store live stream using Ecamm and so on recently last week, and I was looking to produce everything, including camera. And if I'd had the ZV-E10 at the time, I would have used that. We used the ZV-1 as a second camera. Obviously, I just wanted to make sure everything was going to stream. So yes. Hopefully when I get samples for that, I'll test it internally with the lighting I've got in the shed. I am in my shed here, so and it's actually getting really cold now because the aircon's like...
You're not supposed to tell us you're in your shed. You look like you're in the store.
Sorry, I'm giving it away.
What is green screen?
Wine rack of lenses. But yes, mobility. And if I can get the same quality or close to it, but with the same autofocus, then yes, I would consider using the ZV-E10 because then I've got all these lenses I can, mess about with and try and get the look that I'm looking for. So, yes, I think sometimes when we reduce something in size and weight and we call it compact, people just think, oh, it's just not going to be as good. Okay, we're talking about a £700, £800 camera here. We're talking the A7R4 is close to 4,000. There are going to be big differences. But the fact is, if I can get close to it and my viewers don't see that much of a difference in the look, then I go for the smaller option because I don't want to be carrying too much kit.
And this has been, when I won't go who it was, I kind of always going, okay, this is an expensive camera here, and I'm putting it against this one. Can I tell a difference? Why am I going to pay that extra? If I can keep it simple and keep it affordable, I'd do this every day, and I'd rather have a more affordable one here that I can keep here permanently, and then maybe have something else that I take out with me if need be. I I think it's cracking. I'm very excited. I should absolutely be ordering myself one, even though I've already got the other two. Ian's just asking there, and we are going to wrap this up in a minute, Mark. I will let you go in a minute, I promise.
No, cool.
What wide aperture lens? You just mentioned 10 to 18, did you say?
Yeah, the 10 to 18. Now that's a good point. I didn't check actually what it's not as bright and as fast as say a 2.8. I think it might be around an f3. So let me just double check with the camera here so that I talk. Let me just see. 10
to be
18,
honest,
F4,
Ian,
yeah,
I think I would start with the kit lens. I would use the kit lens.
F4. Again, it depends. If you really want that shallow depth of field, obviously you're going to get a bigger sensor. It's going to help get that with different lenses. Obviously, the more light you let in, again it's going to improve the speed and noise and so on. So again, it's one of those. 10 to 18 would be good, but it's going to give you ultra wide. 16 to 50 f3.5. It's going to be slightly shallower. Again, it depends. What we said this earlier, didn't we? That I'm not. With my green screen and so on, I'm not bothered about having the lovely, beautiful bokeh in the background. But so f4 for me would be perfect for this type of environment. Just because it's an APS-C sensor camera and you're thinking, oh, it's not full frame look, it will give you a certain look that you may be looking for, like a very shallow depth of field, possibly more than what you would get on a smaller sensor, like a 1-inch sensor you get with a ZV-1, even though that is a very good lens, by the way. So
Ian, I'll happily demonstrate to you what you can do with that kit lens at some point if you want. Aaron's just saying about the ZV-1 overheats sometimes. I hope it'll be different with this one. There are ways around this, aren't there? There are tips and things that you can do. I know I've got my the battery compartment open on my Sony right now as one little thing just to keep that. I think that was your tip actually. It's a bigger body, isn't it? It's a bigger battery and presumably working in a different way. Don't need it. One problem. Won't understand. Yeah, I know it's Z. I know it's a ZV. But it's a ZV-E10. It kind of really rolls off, doesn't it? Mike, is there an adapter to use Panasonic? There probably is a Micro Four Thirds, is there? But I'm not aware of any. They tend to go the other way.
Sony, but again, I mean, if there is, I don't think I've ever come across any. Obviously, I worked for Panasonic
GH5
for
user,
10 years before Sony, so
don't know. Maybe Park Cameras would know. But yeah, okay. We're at the bottom of the comments. I think, whoa, hang on. I got a super chat comment. Gonna ride with the ZV-1. Don't want to buy. Yep. And that's a really good point, actually, isn't it? That this doesn't suit everybody. If you can use this and just have the built-in zoom lens that's on the ZV-1, and this is exactly what I said earlier, that not everybody wants to do this and go out and buy lenses and get confused with which should I have. Tanner, you're spot on there. It makes a lot of sense, which is why the ZV-1's not going anywhere, presumably. It's not like this has suddenly replaced it. It's just different cameras for different needs.
No, it's added now something else to the range, and this range of E-mount alpha cameras is growing. And you think about, it's relatively young, system. 2013, I think we started bringing lenses into the market. So in such a very short space of time, we now, if you're looking to move to a system that you can grow with, and rest assured you've got lots of things to choose from.
Yes.
And that's just from Sony. We did mention third party as well. There's lots of investment from other manufacturers into the system. So, there's this huge amount of technology to choose from. That can only be a good thing, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting. As a photographer, I love that you can have this birthdays and Christmas and things, and I might get myself a new lens, or so I think it's really fun. It's just a shame that I've got a whole load of other brands of equipment and lenses built up that it's like, okay, let me start again. Yeah, so Tanner's just saying that he's got a Canon camera with 5 lenses that he bought, and he only uses one of them. Yeah. So yeah, I totally get that the ZV-E10 fits and works for you, and I still love it, and it will still be my kind of take on site camera, I think, or just out with the family and friends, things like that, just to have it in your pocket and use. I love it. So great. Mark, I think we ought to call it a day. We've been on for an hour. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Thank
I know
you.
it's been a busy day for you. You'll sleep well tonight.
Yeah,
but
I've got to sort my kids out now.
Thank you so much. Very
pleasure.
exciting camera. Thank you, Park Cameras, as well.
Yeah,
we'll be
absolutely.
checking out
Thank
those
you,
deals
Andy.
and things that you've got over there. Hope you've enjoyed that.
Thanks for everyone tuning in.
Do catch it in the replay. Do still post in the comments. I'll keep my eye on it, and we'll come back with any answers to any things. Mark, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks.
And thank you all for showing up. It wouldn't have been it without you. So, yeah. All the best. We'll see you again.